Well, here it is, our T90 EV for the next month or so. Maybe take the mountain bikes up to Grisdale, somewhere like that. Also, tip runs, and I think we'll have some road trips as well. Time to climb aboard and head back. 264 miles of range, and we've connected our Apple CarPlay, and 68 miles to head home. We'll see you in the South Lakes.
Nice to be back behind the wheel, Ben.
It is. Last time we were here, it was a bit wintry, wasn't it?
Yeah, I remember the hailstones very well.
Oh yes, I forgot. Indicators are on the right hand side on this.
See you again in a month.
Ta-ta!
And now that we're back home, we've got 158 miles of range.
Back at the homestead. I think a tip run's in order. I've already chucked some stuff in the back. Now this will carry a ton. That's easily enough because, yeah, most of this is scrap metal. That's a bit long, but as far as the pickup goes, it's a decent size. See what's in the sheds. I'll have to go at some point. So this has got a range of about 230 miles, it's limited to 80, which is a good thing. No keyless entry. The thing is, because it's fully electric, it's pretty damn good for your business, claiming back, etc. And you can pick a second-hand one up for under 25 grand. Brand new, 50. Now it's not going to win any Mod Con awards, but it doesn't really need to. It's a pickup, and it's been converted from a diesel anyway. To be honest, it does what it does very well. Start it with a key, and that's ignition. And if you turn it again with your foot on the brake, it's ready, and that's it. Put it in reverse, drive, whichever, and it'll just go. Very, very straightforward, and yes, very similar to the MG models. No dab, very strange. And the aerial for the radio's up here, but it's roomy. It's got faux leather. It's comfortable. Now, it's not going to win any awards for things like luxury. There's supportive seats and, well, the thing is, they are electric. Immense. Parking sensors and a reversing camera. Decent ride height, and it is rear-wheel drive, so there is no all-wheel drive. But when we took it off-road, I think it was last year or the year before, it coped rather well. Mind you, we did have 350 kilos of gravel in the back, so it stayed well grounded. There's virtually no safety on it. No lane keep assist, no adaptive cruise, nothing like that. When I drove it back from Liverpool the other day, did it need it? Not really. Because it's an electric vehicle, it feels well grounded, especially at the weight of a pickup. Just got to load all that, see how it affects performance and range. I don't think it'll do much, to be honest. We've got a lovely chrome sport bar, and you can accessorise things like LED lights. It's been covered in like a, I don't know, like a thick paint. Bit like a hammerite. It might be beneficial carrying things like this to get a tub, but that's not hard. It's the same with the backs as well. You could quite easily get, say, a roller top cover or something with windows, and you could carpet it for your dogs. Very versatile. I suppose the only thing it lacks is four-wheel drive. The rest of it, pickup owners and drivers are kind of used to. Let's load the rest. It would have been nice to see, say, a bit of rubber cover over here, because you do have to be careful when you're putting stuff in. Also, a soft opening tailgate. It is pretty weighty, but I can sit on here, absolutely no problem. It ticks a lot of boxes. And the thing is, you take it to places like London or low emission zones, electric only zones, you're sorted. And I've seen reports of rust on the chassis, not on this. That's clean, and it's a 23 plate. Leaf springs and body on frame. So yeah, proper off-roader. Now there's one thing that does let it down. It doesn't have a park button. So you put it in neutral and then use the handbrake. It would have been nice to have a separate system, a bit like Dorothy. Thing is, it's a good looking truck. Batteries, well over 80 kilowatts. It's not got the fastest rapid charge. I think it's about 80, 75, which isn't bad. It does take an hour or so to charge. The thing is, on something like this, it'll cost you next to nothing. Something like 7p kilowatt hour, whereas a public charger, 70p upwards. That's for a rapid. The thing is, Type 2s are still, what, 55, 60? So this is the best solution. You got one of these and it will pay for itself quite literally. What I'm going to do later in the week is go mountain biking. and use these tethering points to securely, look at that, that's a proper mount, stow our bikes. And here's another psych vehicle, MG, ZS. Fully loaded, pretty damn secure too, everything's jammed, so before you start doing anything like that, make sure nothing can fly out, even the dog bed's pinned. You can feel the weight, but it's not affecting the powertrain, if that makes sense. We've got 152 miles of range and it still pulls. I've got the windows down because it's a hot day. It doesn't feel unstable, but because we've got a big heavy battery and a powertrain, it's going to feel pretty weighty. Plus pickups aren't the lightest vehicles anyway. But the fact that it's still 152 miles of range, I reckon we'll use maybe 2 to do the next 2. Right, it's dropped 1 mile. Thing is, we've probably got about 200 kilos in the back. We'll have a look when we get to our destination. But so far, so good. You can feel the regen coming down this. It's a pretty steep hill actually. It's not the heaviest I've felt. It does a good job. And I need to remember the indicators are on the right like a Mitsubishi. Pulling away from junctions, no problem. And we do have a power mode too. 9 times out of 10 you don't really need to brake. It'll scrub enough off itself. Okay, indicate with that. There we go, empty. Down to the bottom for the electrics bit, but it's amazing what it actually held. Take note, this is pretty heavy. Yeah, rear diff does hang down a bit. This makes it a bit challenging off-road, but as long as you're wary of it, it didn't cause us any hassle. On with the next task.
Oh, look at that Capri.
Whoa.
There must be a car show on today.
Yeah. Look at that for a view. So we're heading up. Oh look, pickup country. Hilux. Now, let's put this in power mode. If Annabelle looks forward, you'll see this is quite steep. So there we go, 100%, but 30, 45, and we're going up to 50. I know it's a bit windy, but it's a hot day, and I let my window down. You hear a bit on the motorways and you hear a bit from the mirrors, but apart from that, it's pretty good. This would suit a gardener so much. Because, you know, you can carry a ton on the bed. It'll also tow a ton as well. Yes, it's not 3.5 ton like, well, pretty much every other pickup on the market, but it's not a petrol, it's an electric, and more so, pretty much the first. Well, the first ever. Well, in the UK anyway. When you're climbing this high, doing hills, etc., you will notice when you go from power to eco, it's almost like they've just zapped 50%, but that's what keeps it economical. And this is Jubilee Tower, and wow, it's quite busy. It's a toll booth. If you look right, you'll see things like the Blackpool Tower. You can see all the way down the coast. And everybody stops here. Bike clubs, you name it. Now that's the view. RMU, should be true. If Annabelle looks forward, you'll see how steep this hill is. This is the one we went rocketing up. Now coming back down, the regen is holding us back. It's not enough to stop us, but it's scrubbing off a fair bit, and it's scrubbing off more and more. The only thing it lacks is that park button, which is a strange omission and something you really need, especially if you've got a load, because you don't want to be relying 100% on the handbrake. We can certainly get off the beaten track in an electric pickup, can't you, Annabelle?
Yeah, it's surprising how nimble and agile it is.
Yeah. We just need 4x4 and we're sorted.
It'll be interesting to see what comes next.
And that's eco mode.
Yeah.
No, it will. You're right. I really do love this pickup. However, we have had a turn of events. The other day, this happened. And yes, it's not a weakness with the vehicle. It was just a really loud bang, so whether it was something kicking up or something put it through. So Maxus, on Wednesday morning, they're giving us a new one. Amazing. Last time in this one. Bye-bye, T90 EV. Hello, T90 EV. And this has got some extra options as well. roller top cover, wind deflectors, and a bonnet protector. Ooh, slick. I do like that, especially the colour, but it's nice to have more than one. Interesting turn of events. When I picked this up the other day at Truckhaven, I thought, smart. And then I started thinking, why do I feel I've seen this before? And more to the point, driven it. And it's because it's the vehicle that we had on test about 1.5 years ago. And it's now done 8,000 miles. So think of the life that it's led in that time frame. Journalists, Maxus employees, and it's still here. So, in my eyes, that bodes well. Because let's face it, journalists don't know how to look after vehicles. So the fact that this is still here 8,000 miles later and still holding a decent range, that bodes well. Am I surprised? Not really. It's psych. And we know how well MGs do. Oh look, we've got Spider living here. In true pickup style, tomorrow, Duncan and I are heading up to Grisdale and we'll chuck our bikes in the back and see what it's like. Tunage is enough. Well, I'm loaded. The bed's just not quite long enough to put the bike in without the front wheel on. Shows you how big the Trek rail is. I've tethered it, I've supported it, I've wrapped it and whatever. Okay, let's go and pick up the second bike and Duncan. To the tethering points, and it's got one on each corner, and the metal and bolted to the body. Immense. The thing is, at a push you could use the sport bar. It is solid. Smart looking truck. It's just a shame it's not long enough that I could lay it down and then pull the cover over. It's so nice to be in the same truck again. 150 miles of range. Next stop, Grisdale. Ready? Yeah, Wheelbase. That's where I got my shorts, so yeah. It's doing well. You notice a slight decline in climbing hills, don't you? But it's a weighted pickup, isn't it?
It's got some mud on it now, I think.
Yeah. Next stop, Grisdale. Just untethering with the Thule straps. Yeah, I know it's too late. We are supposed to be getting a bike rack off there. One thing I have noticed, and Doug did as well, is we've had a dinosaur eating the rubbers. A little bit here. If you go at the back, this one's like showroom condition in comparison. The thing is, this was never a British truck. It was a Chinese truck that was converted from diesel to electric. Apart from those little foibles, it's pretty solid, isn't it?
Yeah, generally it's a decent motor.
Yeah.
It drives really well.
Exactly.
Enough power.
It is quite stiff though. It feels like a lowered car in comparison to, well, other pickups, doesn't it? The thing is, you need that stiffness.
Weight in there, isn't it?
Due to the weight of the batteries, exactly, yeah. And then you've got the chassis, body on frame, etc. And then you've got to bear in mind that you're going to put a load in the back as well, because this will carry a ton. Tow a ton as well, but not simultaneously. The thing is, this was all just a stepping stone for the four-wheel drive that's coming, so it shouldn't be long. The thing is, you can pick one of these up for about 25 grand second hand, which I think is pretty good, 230 mile range. And we can get two bikes in the back. You've got the roll top cover, you can accessorise to your heart's content, get everything you need. Anyway, on that note, we're going to get cycling. These clean up really easily. Now, there's a few things that need sorting on this. The thing is, as I mentioned, there's an all-wheel drive one coming. So I reckon I'll sort out quite a bit on that. As far as this goes, it's just decent workhorse. The fact that you can pick them up, so cost effectiveness, 20 or so grand, just makes them a good, well, workhorse. I did mention the rubber, but I've just noticed in the back of this, look, new door trims. Awesome. So not hard to replace and easy to get hold of. Another job for the pickup. Now, I'm only taking it to the top of the road, but it just comes in handy. You can tie it to the bar and then just tip it in the back. Let's see how it goes. Well, it's on. All private land, so all good. Last few days with the T90 EV. Thought I'd take a fridge to the tip. That's the thing, versatility. So, time to charge. Instavolt, simplest system about. Always prefer to use these. So, you do that, you plug it in, it says it's connecting, hope it gets to the next stage. Blue light. And there we go. 14%. 85 kilowatt hour. Wow, pricey. Not quite as pricey as Tesla if you're non-Tesla, but yeah. So I'm going to leave it for 20-30 minutes. Whack 100 or so miles on it. Very straightforward. After this, we're going to whack the bikes in and head up to Grange over Sands and try and trace the coastal path. That's the thing. It may have its downfalls. As an electric pickup, it offers a heck of a lot for the money, especially when you can pick one up for about 25 grand. That's madness. So this is Brief Encounter, and it was filmed in Carnforth. Just going to have a quick look in the Heritage Centre. So back when the movie was being filmed, as far as I'm aware, my granddad stood, I presume, about 3 or 4 metres in front of the refreshment room sign. So wow. 85%, so cost me about 47 quid, 207 miles added, output 50. That's not bad actually. Time remaining 15 minutes, but we're going to stop it because that's enough for what I need. And then we can get on the bike, Mish, can't we? Yeah. Sorted. The rubber goes back in. And yeah, there we go. Right, let's roll. So we've got 222 miles of range. This claims around 230, so the fact it's got 15% left to fill. Next stop, the tip or recycling centre. There you go. All closed up and ready for the bike adventure. The thing is, when you come to the tip as well, you don't need to register something like this. It's only vans and trailers. In. So going to the tip, we got something like 222 miles when we were charged up at Instavolt. We then drove through with the freezer to Lancaster. And we've now got 201 miles of range, but I was doing a couple of launches. So yeah, it's doing pretty much mile for mile. If you hold it down, it'll do way more. Now, there's enough room in here for a family. And I've been using it as like a mountain biking and adventure vehicle. It's decently equipped. Could do with some more extras. USBs in the back, controls on the infotainment for the volume, and some other bits and bats. But generally speaking, that's pretty good. Weighs 158 miles of range. It's got its downfalls, but I think when the 4-wheel drive one comes out later this year, that's going to be a game changer. Because this was the first of its kind. And because of that, well, it fits multiple applications you just think it wouldn't have done. It may not be, say, a builder's best mate because it can't tow heavy loads, carry heavy weights, and it'll impair things like range. It could also tow a small trailer too. Well, up to a ton. No, in Annabelle's words, it ticks a heck of a lot of boxes. And I do like the simplicity of it. Analog clocks and just a small computer there that's operated with this. Simple driving modes, this. USBs, 12 volt, storage points, and things like an armrest, which slides out. Storage points, just everything you need in a pickup. Robust, solid, not the most refined in the world, and a lot of hard plastics, but it didn't bother me. It's enjoyable to drive, and it carries the bikes quite easily, and I can go off-road. That's a smart SUV. Well, there you have it. A month and a half with the T90 EV by Maxus. It's a part of Psych. It's been memorable, but to be honest, the first time I drove this electric pickup, it showed me what the future could hold for electric vehicles. Now, yes, we've had a lot of cars, but to take this off-road with just rear-wheel drive, and it coped with a lot of the stuff that four-wheel drives would, quite mind-blowing. So to have this back again and have, well, a decent amount of time with it, I suppose it involved it in daily life. As long as you've got a Type 2 charger, you won't look back, especially when you can pick one up for about 25 grand. Yeah, they're not really holding the value, but they were almost a test from Maxus. You know, it was a T90 diesel and then converted to electric. Only rear-wheel drive with a low diff, leaf springs, body on frame or ladder. It offers a decent pickup. You can charge for peanuts with a Type 2 home charger. Something like a full charge, 7 quid. Yes, take it to a public charger and you're looking at more like 65, 70. The thing is, when you drive it economically around here, say with mountain bikes in, lawnmowers, whatever, it'll hold on to its range. We've driven from Grange to Fluteborough, 4 miles, and it's just used 1 mile. I mean, I'm not flooring it because I know how to drive electric vehicles. You just let it regen when it needs to. It's got an eco mode, it's got a drive mode, and it's got power mode. It doesn't need anything else. It doesn't need paddles. The regen does a sterling job. The only thing I want to see on, say, the next gen is 4-wheel drive, a volume button on the infotainment system, and a proper park system as well as the handbrake, because the handbrake just isn't strong enough with the load. Apart from that, it's been a joy. A lot of people will love it because it's got virtually no safety. You don't have beeps, you don't have warnings, you don't even have cruise control, let alone adaptive. The thing is, it's a workhorse, so you can claim back your VAT, and it's electric, so you can drive it in the middle of London. It ticks so many boxes. The only challenge is finding a charger, but there's more and more popping up all the time. But yeah, if you're going to run it without a Type 2 home charger, I'd think twice, because it's the same with any electric vehicle. Sadly, hopefully the government will get behind it again. I want to see no VAT on charging, public charging. Also, if they start billing for roads, some kind of, reduction for electric vehicles, but who knows? I think there's a place for electric, like hybrid, like hydrogen, like petrol, like diesel, and like synthetic fuels as well. There's a home for everything. And on that note, what's our final journey? Tomorrow goes back to Liverpool. But it's been a joy to have exactly the same vehicle. Couple of things, yeah, the rubbers have gone and there's a little bit of rust on the wipers. That's not the vehicle. Of course it needs things like LEDs and lots of safety. But to be honest, it just reminds me of the old pickups, but with an electric powertrain. And there's something, very cool about that. It's enjoyable. I'd have one tomorrow, especially for mountain biking. Chuck them in, climb a hill, absolutely no problem. And it's built solid. And I think it does look smart with these. So, a fond farewell to our first, long-term loan. And I'm glad it was this. I just can't wait to see the next one that's coming out, possibly before Christmas, the next gen, which I believe will be on a brand new platform, all-wheel drive, and be all singing and dancing. But the way MG and that are operating at the moment, it really wouldn't surprise me. On that note, thanks for watching.